Oh. Coffee for life. Wow. The aroma, is very good. Wow. I love this. Guys, because I have so many things in my mind and I need to voice out and I need to release that from my brain cells. And I forgot the other terms of the Bisaya. And then I need to talk about something. Like this, I forgot the name. For example, like this, there's a supas like that, and there's a equivalent term in Bisaya. And I cannot remember already what's the name for this. Really? I wonder why I forgot native dialect. This is so simple to consider. Something like that. I forgot the name. For example, this one, I bought this. I forgot the name because of so much science in my brain cells. This one. So, I forgot the name for this, but I think it's gonna be, wait ha, makalimut din ko guys. Because, this is toasted bread. This one. Sometimes simple terms in Bisaya, I forgot. Because I'm focusing on in my brain cells, the different contents in my mind, what will be contents next day, like that, whatever. Diba? Toasted bread siya. Oh yeah? Do you want to eat toasted bread and coffee? And this is for my lunch. Oh my gosh, it doesn't matter, right? Okay. I'll be becoming fat, right? But you can see me, I'm looking fat, but I'm still 65 kilograms. Yes. It's gonna be like that. I don't eat rice. I'll check now. Maybe if I am rising. No. I'm rising today 1 kilogram. I'm 66 kilograms today. Okay? So, ni fat ko 1 kilogram. Because usually, normally, I'm 65 kilograms. Okay? Drag siya sa kilid. I have the weighing platform here. Okay? Like that. Now, let's go back to the discussion of physics, momentum, inelastic momentum, elastic collision, and elastic collision. Okay, so please listen very carefully and get a blank sheet of paper. Hello, mga palangga. Shout out to Makoy, who is very supportive in my live streaming. Same as Sir Ganahan Kayo and Coffee. Yes, coffee is good. Michelle Rivera, thank you for watching. Wilbert Pemdas, thank you for watching. Oh, may mga fans akong dumaragsa. Tama ba yun? Dumaragsa? Parang hindi tama, right? So the term is not correct. Okay? So something like, oh my gosh. So I don't need to talk about political issues, class. Okay? Because, sometimes we are very, very emotional, like that. And it could not help myself by crying a little bit. Wow. Like this. Oh. I cried a little bit, guys, because sometimes prior to the election day, I sleep almost morning. Really to make posts, to interact with some people in the social media, just to defend this unity, Bongbong Sara, like this, blah, 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 so and so. And then when they win, I feel really, I feel in heaven, something like, oh, this is it, unsit. 31 million Filipino people are voting to the unity team, something like that. As I promised, I will never talk about political issues. Okay? Nakakaloka. Okay, the problem goes like this. A 4 kilogram, what's this? Soccer ball moving east at a speed of 5 meters per second strikes a 2 kilogram ball at rest. Calculate the final velocities of the two balls. Wow. Okay, final velocities. Two balls lang siya, guys. So we have ball 1 and ball 2. We need to say ball. Sorry! It's joke time! So we have two bowls lang siya, guys. Both are soccer balls. Right? Bowl 1 and bowl 2. We need to say bowl. Right? Okay. Now, our bowl 1 is, M1 is 4 kilograms. Okay. And our bowl 2 is 2 kilograms. So assuming that the two balls don't have the same size and don't have the same mass. Pag-awjud ko, guys, no? Okay. Never mind. And then we have the velocity 1 here. The first ball is, this velocity 1 is the initial. Okay. For the first ball is 5 meters per second. And the velocity initial of the second ball is at rest, meaning V2 is 0. When you encounter the word at rest in any problem solving in the future, that could mean the velocity is 0 initially. Okay, put that in your brain cells. Okay, VO is the symbol of initial velocity, 0. VI also is initial velocity, 0. Okay, this is the nomenclature. But most of the times, VO siya. Or sometimes, V1 is the initial velocity. Okay, ito ay VO, VI, and V1. This could be the initial velocity. If telling at rest, meaning initial velocity is 0. Okay, for any objects. So that it will help a lot to reduce quantities in our equation. Okay? Yun sa kong cover. Ganon. Okay. When you come to bulinaw, in fairness, and I'm very, very happy to eat bulinaw. Okay, dried bulinaw fish. Okay? So now, calculate the final velocity. So we're telling you to compute the V1, F, or shall we see V2F, the final velocity of the second ball, V2F and the V1F. But V1F can be written as also V1 prime, and V2F can also be written as V2 prime. The prime means apostrophe. You know apostrophe in English? So the apostrophe can be written, it serves as an act of ownership. Something like, for example, Jun's house. You have to put apostrophe in the S. Okay, like this. That's the point. May anak siya ownership. Okay, like that. Len store. You have to put S in the before M because that is ownership of the store, owned by Len. Something like that. So that is apostrophe. Okay. What else? There's a lot of rule. Apostrophe also can be used in sometimes in a terminology. For example, expose, like that. And then you need to say expose. Expose, you have to put apostrophe after E. That's why expose. There's a apostrophe at the last part of the E. If you don't put apostrophe, that's expose. Okay? But if you put apostrophe, it will become expose in English. Okay, what else? What else? There's a lot, right? I cannot remember everything about this. Okay? But that's all connection already to the topic, right? Okay. The prime here is the final in this topic. So, sad to say, guys, they preferably use the prime rather than the F. F is more good because it signifies final. The first letter of the word final. That's why V1F, V2F. So it's easy to remember. That is final. But sad to say, most of the textbooks using prime, apostrophe as a final velocity, something like that. Let's agree. We use the prime na lang talaga siya. Okay? So let's erase the V1F and V2F. Right? Okay? Because we cannot serve two masters in one time. Okay? We need to focus on one thing first before doing another thing. Okay? Like that. Okay? So mastery in so many things, it's up to nothing. We need to specialize a certain thing for our improvement in which made us happy and successful in life. Okay, ganon. So we have V1 prime na lang siya and then V2 prime, meaning final velocities. And we need to complete this. Okay? Question mark. Ganon. Okay, wait. There is at rest, right? So the situation is like this: is the first ball 4 kilogram, okay, and then there is a target ball, meaning this is the ball that the 4 kilogram will try to hit, and this is at rest. Okay, this is at rest. So this is 2 kilogram, right? And then this 4 kilogram will move east to hit this 2 kilogram. So it will covers a velocity in which mentioned here, right here. And then the mass one also. Okay. Now this is at rest, meaning the velocity of this 2 kilogram ball initially is 0. So you need to say V2 is 0. Okay. And this second will have the V2 prime, the final velocity of the second ball. And the first ball also have the final velocity of the first ball prime, V1 prime, like that. Now, if it hits this second ball, it could either be this second ball will go up, or it will go down, it depends on the situation, or it will go straight. Right? Based on the probability and statistics that our mathematicians in the past discovered, it should always be either going to the top and going to the, down. Not in linear motion. So if you try to draw this and illustrate, the ball will be coming here, right? Like this. The 2 kilogram will be here. And the 4 kilogram will be here. Okay? Like that. Okay. You got the point? Okay. Meaning to say, this resting ball is resting at first. Don't move. So we are following the elastic momentum. Elastic collision momentum. The first thing is we need to identify because the equations to be used are not the same. Okay? Elastic collision momentum. Okay. Now in elastic collision momentum, what are the theories there? Okay, no losses of energy. Okay, no losses of energy. Meaning to say, both the kinetic energy and the momentum is conserved. Okay, conserved. What's this all about, Sotero? If you talk about the kinetic energy and momentum are conserved, meaning to say, your potential, no, not potential, your kinetic energy initial will equal to your kinetic energy final. Or kinetic energy initial is equal to kinetic energy output. Okay, something like that. The same also the momentum. Momentum initial is equal to the momentum output or momentum final. So this is your equations to be used. The third case. Okay, like that. You get the point? Ganon. So here, moanatin ka based on the derivation, something like that. We don't have to derive this. Actually, we can make the derivation, but I need to have additional big whiteboard for further explanations. It's not enough for me to do this. Very limited space in my whiteboard. Really, I'm not convenient. I'm convenient, but I need more to clarify things out. But due to the limited space, then my writings will be affected, like the blah blah blah, so and so, too much erasures, right? Okay, so here, so this is our M2, and it's gonna be like that. Okay, now, muana din ka guys, chok. So this is your V2 prime of the second ball. Okay, here. Okay, and then this is your V1 prime of the first ball, going down. Okay, the reason also, guys, it will go up, apart from the too much velocity applied, it's also the weight, because the 4 kilogram is bigger than 2 kilograms. So usually, the small one will go up when it will hit. You get the point? By common sense, it will not go down. You get the point? It will go up because it's lighter. Sometimes common sense also will work, okay, apart from the theory. When you hit this 2 kilogram, it will not go down, it will go up because this is very light. Okay? So something like that. That's why the bolt will go up here. Apart from the theory, okay, something apart from the theory, that the velocity is high, something like that at first. Okay, what may siya velocity? 0 man ang 2, mass ball 2. Okay, ganun. Ano siya. And then, in here, there's a lot of derivation to be determined. So I don't have to emphasize the derivation. We need directly to the straightforward equation. So maana na ka sa V2 prime. Final velocity of the second ball is equal to the twice of the mass 1 over mass 1 plus mass 2. That's the initial velocity of the first ball. This is the equation direct. No need to derive something. Okay? Then if you are really master na in that kind of problem, you don't have to sketch already. Just use this directly. Okay, especially if you're facing the board examination. If you keep on make illustration to make you understand further, then it will create you time also. So use directly the formula and sensing that the problem is gonna be like that. It follows the elastic collision method. Then bingo, go directly to the formula. No need to draw. Okay, like that. You get the point. And second ball, first ball here is gonna be the final velocity of the first ball is equal to the mass 1 minus mass 2 over mass 1 plus mass 2 times the initial velocity of the first ball. Take note, pirmi ang initial velocity of the first ball because the first ball is the one who will hit the second ball. So there's no relevance in expressing, okay, the initial velocity of the two because in the first place, it was started from rest. As I told you, the initial velocity of the second ball is 0. That's why it has not effect, it don't have effect on your actual velocity in the final. So it's always the initial velocity of the first ball because the first ball is the one who will hit the second ball. Get the point? Anak siya. Okay. Now, if you use the first direct formula, we use the direct formula so that we can solve this properly. Because we have also another version, just like singing a song. I have my first version. My first version is like Michael Bublé style. My second version is like a John Benson style. Like that. But the same music I sang. It's gonna be like that also here. The same answer we'll get, but different styles and methods how to compute. Okay? Like that. But the same performance. Kaloka. O diba? Ganon. Okay, wait. Anak na yun. Char. So, final velocity. So, klaro kayong V1 prime ang ipangita and V2 prime. So, V1 prime is equal to mass 1. 4 kilograms. So, 4. Mass 2 minus 2. Okay? Mass 1, 4. Plus mass 2. 2. Times initial velocity of the first ball, which is 5. 5. Guys, you don't have to put the units if you are really sensing or you really feel and you look by your eyes that the units are compatible. Okay, if there is a kilogram, there's a meter per second. And then, like that. If it is not second here, you need to convert that to second. For example, 5 meter per hour, 5 meter per minute. Like that. Ay, pagdali-dali, you should cross-examine, you scrutinize well the units compatibility issues first before substituting the equations and formulas, because admittedly this is the most common mistakes all over the world. Okay, we forget to convert the units because we are very eager to solve because we have the correct and appropriate equations and formulas in our brain cells and we need to write that well, and then we make it fast because there are still other questions somewhere along the way. Then we forgot to convert, really, including me. So that's also my mistakes before. Okay? Now, for example, if this is gram here, you should convert that to kilogram because the unit of momentum is kilogram meter second. So kilogram all, meter all, and second all. That's why I don't put the unit here anymore in the substitution because I will save my time. Okay, I did not show if it's cancelled or not because this is the cancelling situation is just only more on the elementary math. Okay, so this is related to college math, something like that. So we don't have to go to the very basic approach, okay, like that. What I mean, we don't go to the very easy steps in the kind of solution. The leveling is college physics, okay. Though it is mixed with high school physics, but this is more, the attack of the problem is more on college, okay, or tertiary educational level, okay. Now, so how much is this? Okay, but the concept would still be the same, okay? Only putting another, analysis or complex modified to make it a little bit difficult. That's only the leveling, the degree and the level of the problem solving is a little bit difficult compared to the high school physics. But the theory and concepts and principles will just be the same, okay? Including the formulas, I think, yes. But there will be additional for complex equations, but literally most of the basic formulas will be coming back, something like that. Okay, so pila siya mga pinakakuhitan. 4 minus 2 is equals to 2 divided by 6 is equals to times 5. 1.67 meter per second. So 1.67 meter per second. After hitting the second ball with the first ball, your final velocity of the first ball is 1.67 meter per second after hitting. Okay? Now, what is your final velocity of the second ball? This is obvious, this is higher. Because the second ball is very light. It will be too fast, like this. So it will be more than 1.67, the common sense. Okay, so V2 prime, let's prove. Okay. Final velocity of the second ball is equal to 2 times m1 4, okay, divided by m1 4 plus 2 times initial velocity of the ball 1 is gonna be 4. So how much? This is higher than the final velocity of the first ball, ha? Okay? Okay. Akong i-relate ninyo, y. Okay. Ganon. Okay. So, 6 nakakaloka. Ayan, okay. 8 divided by 6 is equals to times 4 is equals to, okay? 5 times 5. Okay, 8 divided by 6 is equals to times 5 is equals to 6.67. So I told you the velocity final of the second ball is higher. Okay, 6.67 meter per second. Why? Okay, why? Okay, did you remember the theory of, it's gonna be like, okay, it's gonna be like that, kinetic energy, right? Is equals to 1/2 mass times velocity, right? Velocity squared. Okay. Now, if your mass 1 is 4 kilogram and your mass 2 is 2 kilogram, so your higher velocity is the mass 2. Because the mass and the velocity is inversely proportional with each other. The more you have a higher mass, the more it will not be at a higher motion. Because it's two-way with bugat. So that's why higher mass, lesser velocity. Lesser mass, higher velocity. Common sense because gaan kayo siya, malagpot na yun. You get the point? Okay, or another proving that by theory, you can say kinetic energy, kinetic energy is equals to mass times velocity, right? And then mass is equals to velocity twice kinetic energy. O ganon. See, the mass and the velocity is inversely because the mass is in the right hand and the other one is in the denominator. The other one is the numerator, the other one is the denominator. That is inversely proportional. We need to say, if the mass will increase, your velocity will decrease. Okay, that's happening here in our actual answer. Okay, the mass of first ball is 4. Okay, something like that. So the velocity is less, 1.67. The velocity of 2 kilogram in the second ball is higher velocity because of this concept of the theory that the mass and the velocity is inversely proportional with each other. Okay, not the same. Okay, meaning inversely proportional with each other or independent with each other. Okay, you get the point? If other one is increasing, the other going lesser, like that, like that. Okay, that's for the kinetic energy. And how can we apply that to the momentum? Pariharga ko na siya. Kaya momentum. Momentum is equals to mass times the change in velocity. And then computing for the velocity is equals to the momentum over the mass. Right? So, again, velocity, the change in velocity is in the numerator. Okay, the mass is also in the denominator. Is on the denominator. So, inversely proportional if you use the momentum equation. Again, the same story with the kinetic energy. So, examine all the formulas that involves mass and velocity and try to get the relationship. Okay? Because here, if you have less than 1.67, your answer will be wrong. This is just to prove. Okay? Like that. Okay. So, this is the most quicker how to solve this problem. But another one is a little bit complicated. We will use substitution and elimination. Substitution, elimination, algebraic expression in math. Okay? Diba? Anak siya. Sa polynomial. Diba? Function of x and y. Diba? And then variables x and y. And you have some expression. Algebraic expression. And you have the terms. And you have the terms, you have the order, and you have the expression. Okay, like that. Like that. The terms, order, and expression. Get the point? Ang order, it refers to the exponent. And then the expression would mean to the entire equation. And then the terms will be, for example, 2x plus y squared plus 3. There are 3 terms, the 2x, the y squared, and the 3. So these are the components of your algebraic expression. But I have only one algebraic expression, this one. If I have another equation that's also another, you have 2 algebraic expression. Now, if you don't have the exponent 2, that is linear algebraic expression. Because the order is only 1. Meaning the highest exponent of your algebraic expression is only 1, so that is only linear algebraic expression. Now, if your exponent is above 2, could either be the 2x and the y, so that is automatically your, okay, polynomial algebraic expression. Okay, like that. But all equations are all nomials. Nomials meaning the root word is numbers. Okay, does it become a nomial? Something like that. Okay, and then you just added poly in before that and it's a polynomial, meaning so many nomial. Okay, and then sometimes you will add binomial. I mean, there are only 2. Okay, and then tri, there are 3. Okay, quadro, there are 4. Okay, but we are more focused on the poly, meaning more than 2. That's why polynomial, so more than 2 algebraic expression. Okay, so this is the basic of algebra or arithmetic math. Okay, something like that. Okay, and then you need to follow, if you remember the 4 basic operations, addition, subtraction, multiplication, we need to follow the rule of the Pemdas rule. Okay, the Pemdas rule. For example, there are a lot of expression, and there's also division, subtraction, and there's all exponent. Sometimes maglibog ka sa imong unahon, right? And if you don't follow the correct technique, your answer will be wrong. Okay, so it's gonna be Pemdas. The first thing to look at it is the parentheses in an expression. For example, 2xy parentheses plus 3xy parentheses. You should go first for the parentheses. Okay. Second, exponent. If the numbers that have exponent, do it secondly. Second. Okay. Third, multiplication. If the expression involves multiplication, do it number 3, step 3. And then after that, division, addition, subtraction. If you will not follow the sequence, and your algebraic expression composed of so many operations there, you will be wrong. Okay? You get the point? Something like that. So this is very basic in algebra. Pemdas rule. Okay? Get the point? Anak siya. Okay. Any question? So we'll use the elimination and substitution. How can we do this? Ang substitution is more on, ang elimination is more on trial and error. Okay, because I really don't want the trial and error. Okay, something like that. Okay. Ano ulit siya guys, diba, ano man siya, elastic, perfectly elastic. PEC, perfectly elastic collision. Ganon. Right now, the formula in the conservation of momentum Cm, anak siya ay M1 V1 plus M2 V2 is equal to the M1 V1 prime plus M2 V2 prime. Now, take note, at rest ang second ball. So, the V2 of the second ball, the velocity of the second ball will be 0. Because 0 times anything will be 0. So, 0. That's why some books did not include this term here because it was already 0. Oh, you get the point? Ano na siya? M1 V1 is equals to M1 V1 prime plus M2 V2 prime. So this is for the conservation of the momentum. Okay. Now, how about okay, wait. Moving to the red. Okay. So for the conservation of kinetic energy, okay. So imagine this perfectly elastic collision, there's no loss of energy. Okay, meaning to say, the energy here is the kinetic energy. Okay. Now, for the kinetic energy conservation. Okay. You get the point? Kani siya guys, alam mo siya, momentum initial is equal to momentum final. Ganon. Ang kinetic energy, ano siya? Kinetic energy initial is equal to kinetic energy final. And ang kinetic energy initial will be equal to 1/2 times M1 V1 raised to the power 2 plus 1/2 M2 V2 raised to the power 2 is equal to 1/2 M1 times V1 prime raised to the power 2 plus 1/2 M2 V2 prime raised to the power 2. Okay. Now, our initial velocity of our second ball is 0. So this term here is 0. That's why 1/2 M1 V1 squared is equals to 1/2 M1 V1 prime raised to the power 2 plus 1/2 M2 V2 prime raised to the power 2. So this is your second equation in your kinetic energy conservation. Okay. Now, gamitin natin siya to solve for the final velocities. Okay. How can we do that? We still have another in terms of the velocity. So there is a conservation of kinetic energy. We can see another version in terms of velocities explosively. Okay, we have V1 plus V1 prime is equals to V2 plus V2 prime. So we have the three equations. 1, 2, 3. And then we need to choose which among them is appropriate to solve this kind of problem. Now we used another version. We already got the correct answers, but we need to use the other versions how to solve, right? So the alternative, okay, it's gonna be like atong balikon diri ari mapalang akong hitad. Okay. So muna na siya. Kaloka. Diba? Okay. So ang hitag ko na higayon na kay kuan. Char. So it's gonna be like that. So M1, 4, V1, 5, plus M1, M2, 2, times V2, 0. So it's equal 0. At rest man. So there's no initial velocity of the second ball. So it's going to be mass 1, 4, okay, times the V1 prime, the final velocity of the first ball, plus 2V2 prime. Okay, so it's gonna be 4V1 prime plus 2V2 prime is equals to 20. This is your equation 1. Okay, how many equations needed to solve and to satisfy the quantities that are being asked in the problem? We need to get at least 2 because we have the V2 prime and the V1 prime. These are the two quantities we need to solve. Then there must also at least 2 equations needed. Okay, at least 2 equations and those 2 quantities are being asked. Okay, that's gonna be the degrees of freedom, right? Okay, so now this is gonna be equation 1. And now we can at least the kinetic energy. Okay, we will use directly the velocity conservation. Because mulubog naman kay lubog. Pwede na siya, but that is more complicated. Kaya fraction, 1/2, 1/2, 1/2, and then raise to the power 2. Then if you are really intelligent, you can do that. But why using the most complicated and you have the simple one? Right? Go to the simple one, which is V1 plus V1 prime is equals to V2 plus V2 prime. Oh, why lubog? All are velocities because velocities are being asked there directly. It's not the mass, right? So this is more simplified. So this is equation 2, right? Now, take note in your equation 1 and equation 2, the common variables here. It's gonna be V1 prime and V2 prime. If we have 2 equations and 2 unknowns in math, we can easily solve what is being asked, right? And you need to manipulate that in terms of transposed rule in algebra. Transposed rule. For example, if I need to get this V1, I will say V1 prime is equals to V2 plus V2 prime. Transpose the initial velocity V1 motion negative from left to the right. So it will become negative V1. So V1 prime is equal to V2 plus V2 prime minus V1. This is your equation 3. Okay, you have your equation 3. Okay, now again, compare your equation 1 and equation 3. What is the common again? You have your V1 prime, okay, and you have also your V2 prime. Okay, since equation 3, this is already the value of V1 prime, then substitute this value to equation 1. It's gonna be 4 times V2, which is the value of V1 prime, right? So V2 plus V2 prime minus V1 plus twice V2 prime is equals to 20. This is your equation 4. Okay, do the math by distribution, multiplication in math rule. Okay, distribution, because there's a parenthesis, right? So 4 times V2 is equals to 4 V2. 4 times V2 prime is equals to 4 V2 prime. Ganon. 4 times V1 is a 4 V1. 4 V1. Ganon. Diba? Okay. Then plus 2 V2 prime is equals to 20. Equation number 5. Ang dami ng mga equations. Yan talaga. Okay? Now, get the common variables in order we can simplify further. Okay, so we have 2 V2 prime. Take note, let's encircle this first. 4 V2 prime and another 2 V2 prime. So the same. So you can subtract directly. 4 minus 2 is equal to 2 V2 prime. And then, there's another common or nothing now? Okay. So, there's no common na talaga siya. Okay. Ano ito? 4V2. Okay. Okay. Plus. So, this is 2V2. Then, it is negative. Right? Because it is negative is higher than the positive. Okay. Anak siya. Okay. 4V2 minus 2 is equal to positive 2. And this one is negative yet. So, negative 4V1. Okay, and then plus 2 v2 is equals to 20. This is equation 6. Okay, you have now your equation 6, which is more specified and specific. Okay, take a look and cross-examine if there are variables that we can substitute directly based on the data of the problem, so that it could be simplified. That's our main goal, is to have a specific and equation so that we can compute what is being asked in the problem. Okay, go back to the final equation. We will use equation number 6, right? Okay, ganon. Equation number 6, mga palangga, kung hintay. Okay, mauni siya. Okay, 4v2 minus 4v1 plus 2v2 prime is equals to 20. Okay, now you have the velocity of your second ball. I don't have because it says at rest. V2 is 0, so 4 times 0 is equals to 0, nothing. Okay, for your first V1, what is your initial velocity of your first ball? It's here, 5. 4 times 5 plus 2, you have your V2 prime? No, I don't have, because this is the quantity that is asked in the problem. So 2 V2 prime is equals to 20. Manipulate the equation or do the math. So negative 4 times 5, negative 20 plus twice V2 prime is equals to like this, okay, 20. Okay, 2 V2 prime is equals to, take note guys, 20. Transpose the negative 20 from the left to the right. It will become positive. So positive 20. So twice V2 prime is equal to 20 plus 20 is equals to 40. Then V2 prime, we use the elimination by dividing this both sides with 2. Okay, so divided by 2, divided by 2. Cancels, chuba, chu. Then we have the V2 prime is equals to 40 divided by 2 is 20, right? Oh, ganon. V2 prime is 20. Ganon siya ang may tabo. Okay? So, nanakay V2 prime na 20. Mga palangga kung hintan. Okay. So, since nanakay V2 prime, we can solve immediately by getting the V1. Okay? Anak siya. Okay? You get the point. Diba? So, review carefully your solution. Muna na itong makuha itong V2. Nakakaloka. Okay, so 4v2 minus 4v1 plus 2v2 like the barbachuan show. And then you can, okay, 20 plus 20, 40. Dalawa na chuba-chucho. Okay, and then 40, right? So 40 divided by 2 is 20, of course. And we have v2 prime is equals to 20. Okay? Ganon. So how about v1 prime? So makuha na naman siya. So v1 prime ito. v1, in terms of velocities. Okay, nakakaloka. Anak na yun siya. Okay, v1. Okay, dapat tayo v1 na. Oh, 5. Okay. Then, v1 prime, wala. Oh, v1 prime is equals to v2. Naabatay V2 mga palangga kong hitan. Wala. 0. At rest man. So V2 prime naman tao, 20. Oh, ganon. So V1 prime is equals to 20 minus 5. Then V1 prime is equals to 15 meter per second. Okay. Our V1 prime is 15 meter per second. And our V2 prime is 20 meter per second. Ganon. You get the point mga palangga kong hitan? It's gonna be like that. So, klaro kayo siya. Okay? Okay? So, nakuha na nato. Charot. O, diba? Ano na siya mga adyan mo kalibong. Charot. Then, kung balikot pa dito sa uno, i-prove, ano na siya guys, basta mag-engineer. Atong dito siyang tukion. Okay? So, M1. Ano mo to siya, no? So, M1. 4, ang V1 niya kay 5, anak-anak na yun, okay? Is equals to M1, di ba? Anak-anak, di ba? M1 is 4, anak na yun. So, V1 prime ang ipangita mo. V1 prime. Tara, ganon. Di ba? And then, 5 V2 prime. Charjat. Kaya, 2 man atong kuan. V2 prime. So, maaaring ka nga. 4 V1 prime plus 2 V2 prime is equals to 20. Ganun siya. Okay? So, pwede sa kamo, ako lang i-prove, guys, if it really matches the other version. This is the third version. Ganon. Okay? Third version. Saan na siya? So, klaro kayo, less common multiple or denominator is 2. So, it's gonna be 2 V1 prime plus V2 prime is equals to 20. So, you will see mga palangga kong hitad nga. 2 V1 prime is equals to, let's say, 20 minus V2 prime. Right? And then, okay. If there is a 2 there, and you need to divide this by 1/2. Again, algebra. Okay. So, it's gonna be V1 prime equals to 1/2 of 20. Diba 10? Then 1/2 V2 prime. Ano siya? Take note guys na kay V1 prime, which the final velocity of your first ball is equals to the 10 minus 1/2 of your final velocity of the second ball. Right? Now, take note guys, this is 1/2. And this, what is the rule for this in algebra? Adding and subtracting a whole number plus a fraction. So we need again to get the least common denominator. Okay, so we have 2. 2 divided by 1. This is understood to be 10 over 1. Diba? Elementary, grade 3, grade 4. Like this. So 2 divided by 1. Ganon. 2. 2 times 10, 20. 2 divided by 2, 1. Right? 1 times 1 is 1. That is V2 prime. Ganon siya, diba? Muna na siya yung anon. Muna na siya. Okay? Ang final mo sa V1 prime. Naanak na siya. Okay? O kanya siya, pwede rin po na siya. Okay? Ano guys, tuloy ba ito 1? O pwede rin sa na siya gapon. Magpili na kani guys. Okay, muna na siya ang V1 prime. Nakakatong ko sa, masama ito akong ingon sa usa. Char. Okay, ano din? V1. O, diba? Okay, V1 is equals to 5. And then V1 prime, kanina lang siya. So, teacher, dahil ito i-prove God ang version 3. V2 prime divided by 2, right? And then, ano na yun siya? Okay, is equals to V2. Kaya V2 na to, 0 man, rest man siya. And then, we have also the V1, okay? V2 0 and V2 prime. Ganon! Hala, so syempre nalagay fraction. Naagya po yung fraction. Kaya mulubog man ang fraction. Do the improper fraction rule method. Okay. Ikaw mo denominator na punta mga palangga akong hitad. Ang-anim na siya guys. Okay? O tayo mahimo. Okay, 2. So 2 divided by 1 is 2. 2 times 5 is 10. So 10. Ano na yun? Plus. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 1 times 20 is 20. Right? Ganon. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 1 times 1 is negative 1. Negative V2 prime dahil yun mga palangga kong hitan. Okay. So equals to V2 prime. O diba? Now, you do the cross multiplication or you need to do the rule of multiplying to something so that it will become simplified. You will choose. But me, I love cross multiplication. Okay? Since in my college days, I don't want the, multiplying with the quantities because I'm not really sure kasi okay? I want crisscross. Like this. Ganon. Put an X direction. Okay. So, ano na siya na 2 times V2 prime. So, 2 V2 prime is equal to, kanina siya nga whole expression here. 10 plus 20 minus V2 prime. So, take the common. I say 2 V2 prime. I have V2 prime here in the right side, so I need to transpose it to the left. So, it will become positive V2 prime. Then 10 plus 10 is 30, right? 30. Now, 2 V2 prime plus V2 prime is equal to 3 V2 prime. Okay, 3 V2 prime is equals to 30. Therefore, V2 prime is equals to 30 divided by 3. So V2 prime is equal to, 30 divided by 3. Excited kayo ko. Char! Nakaloka. Ganun ba? Kasi divided by 3 is equals to. Okay, so it's still the same. 10. Okay? So 10 meter per second is your V2 prime. Okay? 10 meter. Pareho na siya sa atong period na itong version. Okay, 10. So, anong 10 na V2 prime? O, naman tayo V2 prime dito sa first equation. So, t-shirt na mo siyang 10. O, 10 minus, 20 minus 10. Diba 10? 10 divided by 2. Diba 5? So, 5 ang imong V1 prime. Okay? 5 ang imong V1 prime. Meter per second. Or magpili ka, ari din mo equal sa V1. O, 10 minus, V2 mo is, ano man siya? 10. O, diba? So, 10 times 1 half of 10, di ba? Ano siya? 5. So, 10 na siya. So, 5 yung V1 prime. Ano lang? Hay nako. Nauli mo siya, guys. Di mo makalingaw? Okay, ganun siya. Any questions so far for this? Nothing, right? Yeah, mag-drawing po talis ka tong lain na po. So, we need to show to you if the car going to the east and then the car also will go to the, for example, in the north, and it will bump together. Nabangga silang duha. Ano baron? This is a car here. Car going to the east. And the other car also is going to the north. So this is really a perpendicular road. For example, in a city. Right? And then after this, they are bumping with each other here. The bump. What is your formula to be used here? Okay. Here's another story. You need to create your own. You will not follow the Monish na sa engineering, guys, because you know the situations will be changed. Okay? The situations will be changed in which you can formulate your own equations based on the situations that the problem emphasizes. You always not use the same way how it is being solved because it's another variation na siya talaga. Sama niyo. The car go to the east and the other car going from south to the north and nagbangga sila dayon. This is also this is inelastic collision. Get the point? Nagbangga man silang duha, nag-move man silang duha mga palangga. Okay? So this is inelastic. Pagkabangga nilang duha, they stick together. Okay? And then upon sticking together, their mass will be added. So mass of the first car for the mass of the second car. Both of them will share the same final velocity. Okay? Nabangga naman sila. Okay? Get the point? Anak siya. Okay? Get the point? Abot siya sa higayon na mabangga sila. Dahil na sila move, right? Kinabangga naman. So, maabot ang panahon na yung velocity will be 0. But the velocity, katong nabangga pa, wala pa silang padung sa bangga, na siya, o katong na-contact na sila, na siya yung velocity. But what I mean, after 5 minutes, after 10 minutes, na nahunong na sila, their final velocity will be 0. Because they're not moving already, common sense, right? Sometimes the problem will select that also. Calculate the final velocity after 2 minutes. You get the point? But this kind of problem, it has not to do something with the equation. You get the point? But you solve, of course, you solve the final velocity, right? Because it is in the first question. Calculate the final velocities of the two cars after hitting each other. So you will use the exact formula for that. And the second question, letter B. What is the final velocity after 2 minutes? Okay, then you will attempt to use the acceleration, right? Acceleration is equal to velocity over time. Kaya na may time, imo yung pugson, imo ipalusot ang time. Let's say, velocity is equals to, na-time nga mga formula, sa man to, distance, velocity, distance over time. Okay, like that. Kaya naman yung time, yung pugson ba? And then, force is equals to, mass acceleration, impulse, force equals to time. Ay, pugsa! Kani siya, decoration running siya 2 minutes. Understand na naman, after 2 minutes, their final velocity will be 0. Because nahulong naman silang duha. No need to compute. You get the point? Ana ra siya. But sometimes, tungo sa atong pagkakuan, kasi itag pangitag solusyon. Okay, nakakuha mo ah. What is the final velocity